Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Van Bynen. I've got two questions for Mr. Morrison. First of all, thanks for your leadership and that of your members as well, in particular for your advocacy for the Housing Accelerator Fund to have a greater emphasis on projects that prioritize nonprofit housing. My first question is on your recommendation with respect to pushing back on NIMBYism. I'm thinking about groups across the country. In my community, for example, Waterloo Region, Yes in My Backyard is a grassroots organization that advocates for more accessible and affordable housing in Waterloo Region. To what extent do you think it would be constructive to allocate funds for municipalities to then deliver through to community groups like this? Is that part of what you were suggesting? What are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely, Mr. Chair. That's precisely the kind of flexibility, but also the kind of focus that we would hope the Accelerator Fund could take with respect to NIMBYism. The whole YIMBY movement, the Yes in My Backyard movement, whether that be through nonprofit groups, NGOs, or municipalities themselves, we would hope that there would be some flexibility that would allow those various projects and initiatives that are specifically designed to really take NIMBYism, move NIMBYism to YIMBYism, that those be allowed to be funded, because there's no question that NIMBYism is a huge barrier to getting projects delivered.
Fantastic. Thanks for your advocacy on that. It's certainly something I'll encourage the committee to consider in their recommendations for the Housing Accelerator Fund. My second question is in my community, one of the big challenges is the supply of housing needing to meet our needs, and specifically family-oriented 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units as opposed to simply 1 bedroom options. Any recommendations you'd have for the committee in terms of how the Housing Accelerator Fund can help address the need, particularly when it comes to building nonprofit co-op housing, for example, and how critical that is to be providing the kind of supply we need, the supply for whom? For families.
I think it's important to recognize the Accelerator Fund in no way, shape, or form is meant to be a sort of silver bullet that will address the direct supply needs. It does not cover construction costs. It doesn't cover the renovation costs that were mentioned in the previous question. The Accelerator Fund really needs to work in tandem, and by the way, to be stackable with other more direct supply measures, such as the co-investment fund, such as the rental construction financing initiative that the minister referenced. At the same time, those programs, and it was you had this conversation with the minister in the previous round, those programs absolutely need to be improved in terms of how people can apply to them, their simplicity, the timeframes in which approvals are granted. So there needs to be a complementarity between the Accelerator Fund and the direct supply programs that are in place. But I think to look to the Accelerator Fund to meet those supply challenges in Waterloo and elsewhere is probably not the right place. It's meant to complement, but it certainly won't address the problem directly.